This case was similar, kinda, to the Ramika case, but not 100%, but similar. Okay, it's similar to the case, and I'm going to explain to you why. All right. So this is Darien Hobley. Okay, Darien Hobley. And what happened? This young fella, I want to say he's 21 years old. He was involved in a fatal shooting that occurred after a confrontation in the parking lot between him and his ex-girlfriend. Now, it went viral, okay? And when I say it went viral, like it spread it throughout the news really, really fast, okay? But what was reported was that he chased her down, blocked her in, and pumed her. So of course, everybody was like, oh my God, what a horrible guy. He's such a horrible person, because the news reported it that way, right? So it says, according to the court proceedings and surveillance footage video, the victim followed Hobley's vehicle, meaning that the young lady followed him, but that's not what it was reported. It was reported the other way around, right? But the young lady followed him into an auto. Well, she started following him first, and then he pulled into an AutoZone parking lot. She pulled in directly behind him, okay? And blocking him in, okay, is what she did. She limited his ability to leave. They start arguing. She got out of her car, went over to his car, banging on the window, trying to open up his door, reached in. They start struggling and whatnot. And next thing you know, pow, pow, a fire happened, right? She was shot in the chest. So he left. He fled the scene because he was scared. He was shocked. He didn't, he didn't know what to do. Oh, but before he fled the scene, he went into AutoZone and said, call 911, okay? Call 911. And he actually thought she was gonna be okay. So he left the scene, and when he left, he threw the weapon into a sewer, okay? But 911 saw him because a lot of calls came in saying that a black guy had just pow-powed a black female, okay? So they arrested him, and when they arrested him, he asked, is she gonna be okay? Okay, so anyway, and he told them what happened. They took him down, processed him, and they processed him to the highest, I think in the state of Ohio, their first degree is aggravated, is it aggravated assault? But whatever is equivalent to first degree murder, okay? So he was being tried for basically first degree murder, but in Ohio it's called something else, aggravated assault or aggravated battery or whatever. I'll have to look up and find out what it is in a minute. But it's equivalent to first degree, okay? So he was being tried for that. And it's interesting because in court, the prosecutor ended up giving him a plea deal. He didn't go to court all the way through. He accepted a plea deal of 7 years and 1 year for the tampering with the evidence, okay? Throwing the weapon into the sewer. So 8 years total. He took a plea for that. But the judge, she chewed the prosecutor's ass, right? And because the prosecutor tried to stand up and say that he got a good deal, right? That, that his deal that he pled guilty to was a benefit for him, because basically trying to say that he would have gotten more years, So him getting 7 years was a benefit to him. And the judge ripped him a new asshole. She basically, I ain't gonna say ripped him. She didn't cuss him or anything. She's just like, no, he got what actually happened. And she told him, no, this was an overcharge from the beginning. Like, y'all overcharged him. Like, what happened was an overcharge. What happened is what y'all, this plea is for. What happened is not what y'all said it happened, right? And then she turned around at the end and got in the reporter's ass for reporting the story wrong to the public. And she said, you owe the public an apology because y'all reported the story of him pursuing her as if it was malicious intent, okay? When it was really involuntary manslaughter. She followed him, she blocked him in, she approached him, opened his car door, and started a fight with him. And he said she reached for the weapon, and he was scared that she reached for it. and he got to it before she did, and he shot her. And he was very remorseful in court for the whole thing, but he accepted a plea, and the judge basically saying that the plea wasn't no benefit. The plea is what he should have been charged with in the first damn beginning. She said y'all overcharged him in the beginning. So I want y'all to listen to the judge rip him an asshole, okay? And when I say rip him an asshole, I say it because it happened right in court. Right in court, in front of the family, in front of the jury, in front of everybody. Okay? All right, let's listen.
Shortly before Darien's trial was scheduled to begin, he accepts a plea deal. He pled guilty to 1 count of involuntary manslaughter and 1 count of tampering with evidence. And while the prosecutor is explaining to the judge that Darien really got a benefit by them offering him this deal instead of going through with a murder charge, the judge interrupts him and says, it's not a benefit if it's what should have been charged in the first place.
Now, before we get into the prosecutors trying to finagle the court and try to make it seem like the young fella, the 21-year-old, is getting a good deal, right? Just know, I'm bringing this up to say, just because someone is charged with something doesn't mean that that's what they really did, okay? That's what they really did. So again, he accepted a plea, and the judge basically said the plea is what he should have been charged with in the first beginning. So, which means what, you guys? Which means people do get overcharged, okay? We going somewhere. Let's go.
Been charged in the first place.
Riley's family has shown extreme grace in this situation. Well, Riley's actions were not perfect that day, admitted. However, nothing she did deserved death. He has been offered a benefit in that plea, given the circumstances here.
Or he pled to something that really occurred. The plea really reflects what happened, right?
Correct.
It's not a benefit if it reflects what happened. Sure. She followed him to the AutoZone, parked in back of his vehicle so he couldn't leave, went to the side of his vehicle. I mean, I watched the video, so spent 8 minutes at the side of the vehicle, left the vehicle, came back to the vehicle, opened the door of the vehicle. So that truly is what an involuntary manslaughter is. It takes that into account. Got what happened, right?
Your Honor.
Else you wouldn't have reduced it. I mean, it might have been overcharged.
And she said, or else you wouldn't have reduced it. If it wasn't an involuntary manslaughter, you wouldn't have even reduced the damn first degree or whatever it was, equivalent to first degree. You wouldn't have reduced it to involuntary manslaughter if it wasn't involuntary manslaughter, right? So he tried to basically bullshit. Let's just be honest here. He tried to bullshit the young fella, okay, and his mama and the lawyers, and making it seem like this young fella was getting a really good deal when he really wasn't. It was truly involuntary manslaughter, but they manipulated him into thinking, oh, we'll just give you 8 years instead of 20 to life, right? 25 years to life in prison. So he accepted the 8 years, but the judge is ripping the damn prosecutor saying, don't say it's a benefit. He accepted it, but he should have been charged with this in the first beginning. Y'all overcharged this fella, okay? And I know she's embarrassing the shit out of him because it's in front of everybody, okay?
Couldn't have reduced it. I mean, it might have been overcharged at the beginning, is really what happened.
And Your Honor, my only position here is that, given the circumstances, Riley's actions I've already stated, but nothing she did deserve. And what we're here today is because of Mr. Hobley's decisions to pull out a firearm in that situation that could have been handled, including his actions. And again, that is representative.
None of that I disagree with. I only disagree with the representation that he got the benefit of the plea, because the facts really represent what the plea was. That's really what that is. It was overcharged at the beginning, which I'm sure that's why the state reduced it.
And Your Honor, given our current situation here, and the agreed compromise, the state is...
I know he's embarrassed as hell, because I would be. He's sitting there. He knows the family is probably staring at him, right? He knows both sides are looking at him like, you just tricked this family. You tricked this young fella. You tricked this young fella to make it seem like you was giving him a deal, but you wasn't giving him a deal. That's what he should have been charged with in the first beginning. He should have never been charged with the highest degree of murder, ever. Okay?
Our current situation here, and the agreed upon range, the state is asking for the 12 years on the agreed chair.
And then gonna turn around and try to ask for 12 years, okay? But we're gonna find out what she gave him, okay? In a minute. I think I probably already told y'all.
The state is asking for the 12 years on the agreed chair.
So based on the plea deal, Darien was looking at a maximum of 12 years in prison, and that's what prosecutors and the family of the victim were requesting.
And they even, okay, so the family and the prosecutors wanted him to have 12 years, okay? And that's what he agreed to the plea deal, but the max would have been 12 years. So the young fella was facing 12 years. I want to show y'all the grace the judge gave him. And I mean, if you want to call it grace, because to be honest with you, as a plea deal, I think he should have only got 3 to 4 years because of what happened. 3 to 4 years. However, they did accept the plea, and but the judge did not slam the book and give him 12 years. Okay.
12 years in prison, and that's what prosecutors and the family of the victim were requesting. And before the judge handed down her sentence, members of Riley's family gave victim impact statements.
We lost our mother just 1 year before Riley.
I'm gonna pass this of the victim impact statement because it is what it is. We understand they sad and stuff like that. We're gonna pass the impact statement, the mother statement, and all that. We're gonna pass his statement because his statement was very teary-eyed, and we're gonna get to what she gave him. Well, actually, we're gonna bypass what she gave him. Well, she gave him 8 years. Well, let's listen to what she gave him, and let's listen to what she said to him.
Sentence.
Originally, I thought there was an indifference to life, which was troubling to me. But as I thought about what happened, I actually think he was more in shock than indifferent. At some point in the video, he asks the officer, and it's not real audible, you can't hear it very well, but he asks the officer, how is Riley? Which clearly said to me he had he wasn't putting the pieces together that he shot her. She's not alive. That's kind of how I interpreted that. He asked that question. It was a strange question. And it's really unfortunate that we're here today. I attribute a lot of this to, number one, how young and unprepared they are to handle life, just generally. You can see it in the videos. The videos that I provided, her going over to his house on prior occasions, and what the nature of that relationship was. And the videos that I was given by the defense support the fact and support what Mr. Fuego said, that this was a relationship that was tumultuous. They probably shouldn't have been in it anymore. They shouldn't have been together. Clear from the videos. Law enforcement had been.
So right here, the defense showed prior videos of them fighting. Okay, let's just keep it a buck. Different fights that they have gotten into in the past. Those videos were shown to the judge to show that there was a toxic relationship. Okay, the relationship was up and down. They were good at times, then it was bad. Good at times, it was bad. So they did a lot of physical altercations throughout their relationship. Okay.
His house before.
And that was used as evidence as to what type of person the victim was.
This is a young love, not fully developed human beings. This is why people, Mr. Hobley's age, shouldn't have a weapon. They are not operating on full cylinders yet. And, this is a really tragic case, because we have two people who presumably everybody loves and is, has part of their family and helps their family. He helps with his disabled son. She helps with her siblings. Miss Jones' mother has passed away. There's all kinds of grief in that family. It's just awful. Right. So the sentence on count 1 is 1 year on the firearm to be served prior to consecutive with aggregate minimum sentence of 7 years on the.
Okay, so right there, the prosecutor was asking for 12 years plus a year for the tampering of evidence, right? The gun charge, throwing a gun in the sewer. However, she gave 7 instead of 12 for the involuntary manslaughter, and then gave 1 year to serve prior to the 7 for the tampering of evidence.
Underlying count to an aggregate maximum sentence of 10 and a half.
Now, 10 and a half years is if he gets in jail and he acts up, you know what I'm saying, don't behave, then he'll get a max of 10 and a half years. But as long as he does what he's supposed to do, he will be out in 8 years.
Years on the underlying count. Count 5, 24 months. Counts 1 and 5 to run concurrent to each other. You have an 8-year sentence to serve up to 10 and a half years. You're ordered remanded and transported.
So Darien is sentenced to 8 to 10 and a half years in prison for Riley's death. The judge explained that as long as he does what he's supposed to, he will be released in 8 years. But if he doesn't, he can be held up to 10 and a half years. Now, apparently, when this incident first occurred, media outlets were reporting that Darien was the one chasing Riley instead of the other way around. And so once the hearing ended and people started clearing out, it seems like one of the journalists went up to the judge's bench and the judge expressed her frustration with the inaccurate representation of what actually happened in this case.
Now, right here, I want you to pay attention. Lean forward, turn your volumes up. It's going to be a little hard to hear. Some of the stuff you won't be able to hear all together. So just, if you can, if the little captions come up, just read those. But she basically now is talking to the reporter who carried this case all the way through. They told the public the wrong information and never came out and cleared it up. It was reported that he was the one chasing her as if he was the aggressor, and it was never cleared up. And the judge says, you owe the public the right information. Okay, take a listen.
Well, it's really important that you guys get the stories right.
We get right.
I don't know who didn't get it right, but it's really important to our system of justice.
Yeah.
And to making sure that the facts are correct. Are you the reporter on this?
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
The transference of what happened in this case by whoever the media outlet was chasing her is a big deal. That's not what happened, which is why whoever did it, they owe the public a correction.
Yeah.
They've done that to me in other cases too, where the story was absolutely wrong, and they owe the public a correction to make so that your profession, just like mine, we want people to believe what we're doing and say, right?
You lose the credibility.
Well, that's what
Everything that you say, even if you consider it illegal.
exactly.
So I we understand our
It's
response.
super important.
So we-
I was in journalism, now she just happened to be law.
Yeah,
So I am sensitive to your job, and I'm also it looks like I'm not doing my job.
Right.
You know, we want people to trust in.
Then it cuts out, but I agree with the judge. So y'all tell me how you feel about this case, especially if you've been keeping up with the Romika Meeks case in Chicago, because it's not an exact match, but there are some similarities. So I'm curious, what y'all think?
Okay. So she says, if you've been covering a Romika Holly case, right? Then she said this is not an exact match, but it's similar. Let's talk about the similarities, okay? It was reported, and if we all been covering the case and following it, we know that it was reported from Chicago. I want to say Fox in Chicago, whatever the channel is, that Romika was dropping off her kid in school, and Holly and Carlos came up to the school, waited for her, approached her. Carlos held her in a headlock as Holly pumed her. So, along with this case, the media can get it wrong sometimes. And when they do, sometimes it ain't no convincing a difference until the media comes out and make it right. And the judge in this case said the media got it wrong in this case right here. It was stated that this young fella was chasing this young lady when it was actually Riley, the young lady, following him, okay? And it's even said that he had broken up with her via text message, okay? So they was broken up, and she didn't like the fact that he broke up with her, so she started following him, okay? So the whole thing came down to basically they was on and off in a relationship, and he sent her a text and said the relationship is over. She didn't like that, so she, went to his house, or somehow she got behind him, and she literally started following him he went into pulled into the auto zone. She came right behind him, jumped out her car, and she started confrontation with him, not the other way around. So the young lady approached him. She is the one that opened his car door. She opened his car door and started fighting him, not the other way around. However, he did have a firearm on him in his car. He said she reached for the firearm and he got scared and he grabbed it and he shot her. Okay? One time to the chest. The court's prosecutor tried to finagle him and the mother, the family, and talk him into accepting a 12-year plea deal, a max of 12 years, up to 12 years. He accepted the plea, not knowing that, it could have been lower if they would not have charged him with the highest degree of murder in the state of Ohio. He was looking at life. However, when they dangled the 8 to 12 years in his face, or 7 to 12, he accepted it, not knowing that they could have probably fought and found out, if he would have went to trial all the way through, he could have been found with manslaughter once all the evidence came out in the first place. Now, in my opinion, I don't feel that he should accepted the plea deal. I actually think that he could have really gotten 3 to 4 years, but he accepted the plea deal because, when you're looking at a 21, 22-year-old facing life in prison versus you can get out in 12 years, I'm sure that, it sounded better. It sounded good. And I just want to point out that he was charged as a murderer and he was held for 6 months as a murderer, but he is not going to go down as a murderer. It is called involuntary manslaughter, which is not classified as being a murderer, okay? And I'm only saying that because just because you're charged with something don't mean that that's what you're going to be identified as.
My heart goes out to both families. May peace replace their pain and may healing begin for all. Let's keep the conversation going down in the comments and make sure you like, share, and subscribe to my channel and Loud Talkers. Y'all make sure y'all keep it loud out there in these streets. Until next time, bye-bye.